Okay, we're going to run through CFA 3.5 to 3.8. There's a couple problems on here we didn't end up putting on the Google form just due to time, so we'll skip those when we're going through them. One of them is this first word problem. We're not going to do that one, so we'll scroll down here and get to the problems that you had on your quiz. All right, we're supposed to be finding the quotient using traditional long division. So we're going to start over here with 9,072 divided by 56. We know when we're making guesses with groups of 56, it gets a little tougher sometimes because we don't know all our facts, so we've got to use a little trial and error here. Remember, if we're going to use this does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers method, we're going to divide, multiply, subtract, check, and bring down. So if I've got 56, I'm making groups of 56. If I have 9, I can't get a group of 56. Again, I could X that out if I wanted, or just skip over to 90. And if I have 90, I can get one group of 56. I stay organized and get right above the 90. There's my division steps. Now I multiply. 56 one time is 56, and line it up and subtract from 90. And if I do that, I get 34. And check, that's less than 56, so it was a good guess. And then bring down a 7 and start all over again. So now I've got 347. I want to divide that into groups of 56. And if I were just thinking this was 50, 50 times 8 is 400. That's too much. 50 times 7 is 350. Not a little much. So I'm going to guess 6. I think that'll be relatively close. I like to go off to the side and just take 56 times 6 to double check first. 6 times 6 is 36. 33. So you get 336, which is very close to 347 without going over, so it was a good guess. And that was 336. Now I subtract again. You get 11, which is definitely less. Now I can bring down. And this, I can see I can get two groups of 56, because 56 times 2 is 112. This one comes out with no remainder, nothing left over, so the answer is 162. We're going to skip this one again just due to time. We didn't do that one on the Google form, so we won't do that one here. And we'll move down to the next problem. Again, so I'll pause if you need to, but make sure you have this copied down and all your work there. Okay, the next one we're going to estimate and then solve this one here. And I see it's about 7 divided by, we could round that up to 4. 7 divided by 4, we're going to get somewhere. That'd be about 1 3/4 or 1.75. Again, that'll be very close to my answer, so we'll go ahead and work it now. Move out here, 7 and 35/100 divided by 3.5. And remember, when we have a decimal out here, I don't like to divide into groups of 3.5. That's tough, so we make that a whole number. So I'm going to divide into groups of 35. If I make this 10 times bigger, I must make this 10 times bigger, and the relationship stays the same, and then I can just put the decimal there and go. All right, so now it's an equivalent problem here. It's just 73.5 divided by 35. Gives you the same result as 7.35 divided by 3.5. All right, so let's start again. If I have 35, can I get a group, or if I have 7, can I get a group of 35? If I have 73, I can get 2 of them, because 35 twice is 70. I'll subtract to get 3, bring down the 5, and 35 goes into 35 one time. And we get 35 there. So the answer comes 2.1, and I know it was supposed to be close to 1 3/4 or so when I estimated, and 2 is really close to that. So it makes sense that I have the decimal in the right spot and probably have the answer right. So 2.1 for this one. Again, get them written down here, and we'll pause if we need to, and we'll turn over to the back side and look at a couple. All right, on the next page, we've got a word problem here. Mr. Darling spent $76.80 at the teacher supply store on pencils. He paid $1.20 for each pencil he bought. How many pencils did Mr. Darling buy? So I'm dividing into groups of $1.20 because each pencil costs $1.20. So if I spent $76.80, I'd take $76.80 and divide them into groups of $1.20. And this would tell me how many groups of $1.20 I had or how many pencils I bought. So let's go show our work here. Again, there's a decimal out here in the divisor. Move this over a little. I want to make this a whole number as our traditional strategy, so I'm going to make that 100 times bigger. I'm going to move it twice. So I need to move this twice and make it 100 times bigger. So now we know that the value will be the same here, and I've just changed the problem into 7,680 divided by 120. Okay, so if I have a group of 7, I can't get 120. If I have a group of 76, I can't get 120. But if I have 768, I know my answer has to go right above that 8, and I can get several groups there. And when I go through, I'm thinking around 100 times 7 is 700. 127 times, be a little close. So I'm going to try 6. It's probably going to be 6 or 7. 120 times 6, and I get 720. So that's a good guess. I can't go 120 more than that. It'd be over 800. I'm going to guess my 6, and 120 times 6 was 720. Subtract to get 48 left, which is less than 120, so I know it's a good guess. And I'll bring down my 0 and start all over again. And 120, I believe I can get 4 groups out of that, because 120 times 4 is 480. And did some mental math there, was able to figure that out. So it looks like he bought 64 pencils in this case. Okay. All right, so there's a lot of review on division. We do have a couple of percentage problems down below, so after you copy this, we'll move down into that. And getting into percents, we know that percents are based out of 100. Okay, so write the shade more than 15 hundredths and less. Give me a decimal in here, and again, we don't have anything to shade on here, but if I shaded more than 15 hundredths, could I shade 20 hundredths? That would be an example. I'm just going to give an example of that. So 21 hundredths would be between 15 and 35. So a decimal, 20 hundredths, we know. Hundredths is out here. That could be 20 hundredths, and I know that would work because this is the tenths, this is the hundredths. Now we also could take that 0 off and say 2 tenths because that's equivalent. That definitely falls between 15 and 35 hundredths. And my percent, we know percents are based out of 100. I've got it out of 100, so the percent is simply 20%. And on your guys' paper, you have the graph you can shade, and you can shade in 20 of those little boxes on your 100 square there. And then on this one, I'm going to shade more than 80 and less than 95. So let's go something different here. Let's say 85. So I'm thinking 85 hundredths here would fall in between there. So the decimal is the hundredths. So I go out to the hundredths column, which I know is right there. So there's 84 hundredths. And we know percents are based out of 100. So there is 85%. You'd have to shade in 85 as little squares on your hundreds block there. Okay. So again, kind of the basics of percents being based out of 100 and be able to say what they are as a decimal and a percent.